Okie doke. Welcome to Insomnia Month. I am chatting with Melissa Ayres. Melissa, before we get started, tell us a bit about what you do, who you are, all that good stuff.
Hi, Emily. Lovely to be here chatting with you again. So, I am a women's health expert. I'm a homeopath and I'm a theta healing practitioner. And I've been a homeopath for many, many years, but I now combine all of my knowledge and wisdom of natural healthcare, homeopathy, with my intuitive healing gifts to support ladies in perimenopause and menopause and beyond.
Brilliant. So, insomnia. It's a fun one, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. It's I have to say it's been a bugbear for me, actually, insomnia throughout my life.
Okay.
Um, it's something I've battled with, and I found actually at perimenopause, it's like the things that you've always battled with come back to be battled with again.
Yeah, they really do, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. The reason I became a homeopath was because I had chronic UTIs from the age of 4 up to my early 20s. And in my early 20s, I was working in London, and a friend said to me, "Why haven't you seen a homeopath? Because this is a new friend." And I was like, "Well, what was that?"
Yeah,
And I went along, what's that? I went along, within 3 months, it's completely cured. So that
amazing.
started my interest and passion with homeopathy. And some years later, I retrained. But it was quite interesting when perimenopause first hit, how even those bladder symptoms came back. I was like, whoa, this hasn't been there for years and years and years. But yeah, insomnia is just something I've struggled with, not my whole life, but on and off, a lot. And
And
yeah,
I think you'll
perimenopause.
agree. I think you'll agree when we don't sleep well, it just impacts everything, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. I had a new client this week, actually, bless her. She's yeah, a couple of years into perimenopause now, but she can't even string two words together at work. It's the brain fog. I really feel for her. That's my priority with her, is where there's other issues she's come for help with, but actually we're going to get her sleeping better because it's just the foundation of everything. We
Yeah.
just can't function um, when we don't sleep well.
No, and it's funny, isn't it? Because sometimes it's not getting off to sleep. Sometimes it's waking up and then not getting back to sleep. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
sleep being interrupted by needing the loo or sleep being interrupted by night sweats. It's
Yeah.
quite complex, isn't it?
It is. It is. That's the lovely thing about homeopathy. When I do consultations with people, we go into great detail on, like you say, when is the waking? How long are you awake for? Is it difficult to fall asleep? Do you wake refreshed? What's waking you? We go into all of that because there are different remedies that fit different sleep issues. So it's really important. We go into great detail with sleep. And there are lots of remedies that can help. And I'm going to go through some actually. I've got 11 tips to share for a good night's sleep.
Awesome.
And then I'm going to share some homeopathic remedies as well.
Awesome. Go for it. I love it when you do your tips.
So, what I wanted to start by saying is it's not always down to hormones. There are many other factors that can influence our sleep. So, diet, stress levels, liver function, adrenal function, all of these things. That's why I feel a holistic, individualized approach is best. There isn't a one size fits all, um, remedy for sleep issues. I mean, we work with over 3,000 remedies in homeopathy, so there's many, many that can support with sleep. So this holistic, bespoke support and getting right to the root of sleep issues works best. But there are some simple changes you can make, and that's what I wanted to share with you today. And I have 11 recommendations I'm going to share with
Awesome.
you. Some of them you might know, some might be new to you. So, first of all, and this is one that really affects me, wind down before you go to bed. We can't expect our bodies and our brains to just switch off and sleep. I wish they could. I have friends that are like that. I'm not like that at all. You have to, it's almost like help your body get into sleep mode. And for me, that's relaxing to an hour to an hour and a half before I try and go to sleep. I did it last night. I ended up on a phone call with a friend and we chatted till, I don't know, it was nearly 9:30. And then, I'm a 10:30 girl, go to bed. Could I go to sleep? No, I thoroughly enjoyed my phone call, felt thoroughly relaxed, but it's just not conducive. We really need to be just switching on.
Yeah.
If you choose to watch television to switch off, what I wanted to raise was, what are you watching in the evenings? Choose something feel good and calming rather than programs that induce fear or excitement, or those programs that kind of have you right on the edge of your seat,
Or
because they actually
Newsnight.
increase stress
Like
hormones.
many years ago, I had to stop having Newsnight on at bedtime because I get so angry.
Yes, that's a good one, isn't it? Yeah. The news, doom, gloom. Yeah. There's far more good happening in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with you there, Emily. But yeah, that adrenaline rush of, a thriller or something like that, it does increase stress hormones. So coming off screens as well, more phones, I think, than television, because with phones and laptops and things, we're much closer to that screen, and the light from them and sort of devices negatively impact our pineal gland, which is the gland that produces melatonin, the sleep hormone, but it can only do that in darkness. So that blue light really affects the pineal gland, and it excites the brain, which really isn't conducive to sleep either. Another thing with devices, I battle with my teenagers over this every night. Let's switch off the Wi-Fi and your phone at night. So man-made EMFs, so that's electrical magnetic frequencies, interfere with our own natural circadian rhythms. So I would say keep or charge your phone in another room, so there's not the temptation to look at it at night, and just being away, having a break from all those EMFs around us. Something that's really good with this actually is grounding or earthing, you might have heard of. So the Earth's a massive reservoir of free electrons, and we're not naturally connected to the Earth anymore because we have rubber shoes that disconnect us from that. And when we don't have that connection, we're unable, or our cells of our body are unable to sort of balance that charge of free radicals, which includes things like EMFs. So just grounding, sitting in your garden with your feet on the grass for 10, 15 minutes, walking your dog barefoot, that's something I do in the summer when the weather's nice. Just, it completely resets the body's circadian rhythms, everything grounds and balances, and that's so good for sleep. It's also really good for hormones as well. There's a great website called groundology.co.uk that has a lot of scientific research on grounding, and there are lots of studies with sleep, but also some with menopause as well.
awesome.
Taking a bath with magnesium salts before bed, which grounds and calms the nervous system. I would say in perimenopause and menopause, make magnesium your friend, ladies. It is just so good for us, and there are studies recently that it helps with calming hot flushes. What I would say as well is not all magnesiums are created the same. You want to go for a food-based product, because synthetic minerals and vitamins, the body doesn't really recognize them, doesn't know what to do with them. Long term, they can become toxic. So go for a food-based product. And I would also suggest with magnesium, what I take is magnesium taurate. So this is magnesium with taurine. So taurine is an amino acid that calms the GABA receptors and the nervous system down. So combining those two together is a really lovely thing to take in perimenopause. And I take 2 capsules before bed of magnesium taurate, and I have to say that's made a big difference to my sleep. Keep a notepad by your bed. Write down worries and anxieties before you go to sleep, because it helps them get out of your mind and onto the page. And again, if you're sometimes, I do this, I think, oh, I must do this in the morning. This person needs a remedy from me. I must remember to send it. Just writing it down, you know it's kind of taken care of, and it's out there on the page, and you don't have to think about it. So that's really good for helping to switch the brain off. Lavender oil. Put a couple of drops of lavender essential oil on your pillow. Use it in a diffuser in your bedroom. I read somewhere, or it was something I was listening to, which made me chuckle. It said, "Do you remember elderly ladies always smelled of lavender?" And it's like, well, they knew. These wise women knew that lavender is really good for calming the nervous system and helping them with sleep, and that restless sleep that we can get at perimenopause and menopause with hot flushes. Number 9, I think this is, try alternative nostril breathing before you go to sleep. So this is a yogic practice, and what it does is it activates the rest and digest parasympathetic nervous system. Just have a look online. It's very easy and simple to do, and what's nice as well is that takes your focus. So if you are struggling to sleep, it takes your focus away from struggling, why am I awake?
Yeah, because that's a bad one, is just when you end up in that cycle, isn't it, of stressing about it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And limit caffeine. I know this might not be a very popular thing to say, but especially coffee, because coffee excites the adrenals. It causes an increase in cortisol and other stress hormones. It also irritates the bladder, interestingly, coffee and caffeine. So if you're waking up at night to go to the loo, it might be worth limiting caffeine in the day. Years ago, I did a postgraduate in homeopathy, and we did a nutrition section. And I remember the lady taught us that a cup of coffee, the adrenal glands can't distinguish between that and being chased by a lion. That's the level of stimulation to them. So if you do have caffeine, I would say, keep it in the morning, keep it before midday. But coffee especially there's something in it that seems to really wire the system. So I know sometimes it's tough, but cutting out coffee can make a big difference to your sleep. There's something called chicory, some clients of mine use, which has the same taste as coffee, but doesn't have that same hit of adrenaline.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd share with you some remedies, actually,
Cool.
which that you can get in health food shops, which you can try. They're a 30C potency in homeopathy is a really great place to start and try for sleep. And as I said at the beginning, there's so many remedies for sleep. But something that's really helped me is a remedy called Cocculus 30C.
Okay.
Is the potency Cocculus, Cocculus. So this is a really great remedy for when you are fretting about not sleeping. It also has a double whammy effect. It really is great for when you've not slept well. It's a remedy, we call it the remedy, because we have very old, hundreds of years old books, they call it the remedy for night watching. So it's when, mothers especially would have been up taking care of children, or nurses would have been working night shifts and looking after. It's very much that remedy. So it's really great. I would say try it 3 times a day and take one before you go to bed if you're really struggling to sleep and that's fretting about, because then we get into that cycle. Really great for breaking that. But again, if I've had a bit of a disturbed night, I'll reach for a dose of Cocculus 30C in the morning, and that really gets me through the day. Aconite. You might have heard of aconite because it's a great fever remedy. It's a great remedy for when we've been chilled, very sudden onset symptoms. But aconite is for when we're feeling quite anxious, and you get that starting in sleep, when the body jerks. There's a lot of restlessness, tossing and turning. You can't settle. And aconite's also required when people are having quite anxious dreams as well. And that's another remedy I advise clients to take, right before bed. And actually, if you wake up and you can't sleep, you could try aconite every 15 minutes until you settle again. I always say give remedies an hour. If you've done 4 doses and it's not worked in an hour, it's not the right remedy. But aconite works very quickly, and it's a remedy I recommend often for panic attacks as well. So it's one that's worth repeating often to help with sleep. Coffea cruda is actually a homeopathic remedy made from coffee. So homeopathic remedies, we can make them from anything. They're highly, highly diluted original forms of a material dose of something. So we're about 70% plant-based, and that includes coffee. So homeopathy is like with like, and it works by stimulating the body's own healing system. So it's like giving the body back something which might have caused the problem in the first place. So that's why we work very closely with people to match symptoms, to match remedies to their symptoms. But coffea is sleeplessness from mental activity and that flow of ideas, like when you can't switch your head off. And that can be good things as well as bad things. We can be excited sometimes about a new project, or I don't know, new party we've got coming up, something we're excited about doing, and you're like doing that prepping in your head. That's very coffea. I remember when my son was born, and I had him with nothing but homeopathy. It was 9 hours home that day. I'd do that again. It was brilliant. And we never have boys born into our family, all girls. I've got 3 sisters. My ex-husband had 3 sisters. I could not believe I'd got a boy. So I spent the whole night just wired, because he slept soundly for that first night. So yeah, coffee is this remedy from it can be excitement as well as stress of mental activity. And coffea also has this 3 a.m. waking, and when you can't get back to sleep after, that's a great remedy for that too. And the other remedy I use many, but one of the main ones I use to help people with sleep is melatonin homeopathically. So again, when we give a remedy homeopathically, a substance homeopathically, we're not giving it to the body like we would in supplement form. I can give estrogen, progesterone, I can give all sorts of hormones homeopathically, but what it does is it balances the body's level of it. That's what's really nice. The body takes what it needs from the remedy, whether that's deficiency or whether there's an overproduction of a certain hormone. But when I use melatonin is when there are really altered sleep patterns. People have not slept for a long, long time. It's chronic insomnia, or shift workers, respond very well to that remedy. So yes, that's just a handful of remedies that
Amazing.
You can just try. You don't need to see a homeopath necessarily to try them, but you might just find it helps you to get a good night's sleep.
Awesome. And if people want to dig a bit deeper and work with you, they can work one-to-one with you as well as on your. I know you have a program.
Yes, that's right. My program is one-to-one. I only work one-to-one.
Cool.
Yeah, as I said, it's so important that this time is, it's very, very bespoke. And, that can be just for homeopathy, or that can be for homeopathy combined with beta, which is absolutely amazing. But yeah, I do have a free masterclass, 30-minute masterclass, Managing Perimenopause and Menopause Naturally, if anyone. That's on my website, melissayres.com, which is a really nice way to understand more about how I work and about managing symptoms naturally.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Thanks, Emily, for having me. I hope that's been helpful.